Hello everyone, this is Professor Robert Solis, and welcome to this next video lesson. What I want to talk about is how to declare constants. First of all, let's talk about that. Whenever you declare a constant, you always have to start off with the const, which is an abbreviation for constant. Then you give it the data type, followed by whatever the constant name is. And you'll notice that all of the letters are in uppercase. That is a industry standard. It doesn't have to be that way, but you would be you would not be abiding by the industry standard, which is all letters of a constant must be capitalized. When you do that, you want to also make sure that you give the constant an exact amount that it's worth. So in this case, tax rate is going to be set to 0.075. If you don't do that, you're going to get a syntax error. Constants must be initialized right off the bat. Let's talk about something else. You notice over here this variable called num of digits. It's declared as an integer, and it's set to 2. Now, what I'm doing here is I want to display a certain number of digits after the decimal point because we're dealing with money. So that means I'm going to have to display 2 numbers after the decimal point. In order to do that, what you would have to do is you would have to say for the following cout statements, I am going to set a particular flag. Now, you know what a flag is. When the mail carrier delivers mail, there's a flag on the mailbox. Or for some cities, they have those flags, and that indicates that the mail has been picked up, or you're indicating to the mail carrier, please, take this mail and deliver it for me. Well, that's exactly what we're doing. There's all kinds of different flags that are part of this cout statement. And one of those is called the fixed flag. So in other words, what we're going to do is we're going to have a fixed number of digits after the decimal point. So this right here is called the scope resolution operator, and you don't really have to know that. All you have to know is this. If you want to indicate that there's a fixed number of digits after the decimal point, this is what you would need to type. IOS, followed by the scope resolution operator, followed by this word fixed. You also want to indicate that you want to show the decimal point. So in this case, we're going to again set the flag, and here's another one called iOS scope resolution operator show point. So we're going to be showing the decimal point, and we're going to be showing a certain number of digits after that decimal point. All right, well, how many digits after the decimal point? That's where this precision comes in. So cout.precision is going to indicate the number of digits after the decimal point, and that's what this thing represents. Well, remember, number of digits, that's something that we assigned over here as the number 2. So all of this is typed so that we display exactly 2 numbers after the decimal point because we're dealing with currency. All right, so sales tax. Hey, this is supposed to say sales tax. So sales tax, okay. The sales tax amount is going to be whatever the amount tax is, and that's going to be described up here. This is where we determine what that is. And then the grand total, that's going to be the addition of the amount plus the amount of tax that is plus the amount spent. That's going to be our grand total, so it's going to display it over here. And since these are cout statements that follow this grouping right here of setting the flag and setting the precision, then all of the cout statements after this, anytime we're dealing with money, will show a certain amount of digits after the decimal point, namely 2. We're going to show that decimal point, and it's fixed. Okay, so let's see how this works out. Let me go ahead and run the code. And the first thing we're asked is, how much did you spend? Well, I spent $100. All right, so if I spent $100 and if the tax is 7%, so it says sales tax amount is going to be $7.50. So the grand total, that is this plus this, is going to come out to $107.50. All right, so if you want to have a certain number of digits after a decimal point, this is what you have to do to set it up. At this point, any cout statement that follows these 3 statements will abide by this precision set point fixed set flag business. Okay, and then in terms of a constant, you just simply have to put const to indicate that this is something that will not change. This is not a variable. This is a constant. It's something that is fixed. Some people just simply take this and they'll put it outside. So let me cut it, and they'll just put it outside of the main function because constants don't change. And so they can be global. Anybody can see them. And we'll talk about local and global later on. Right now, this is a global constant. The way that I had it before, this is a local constant. It's okay to go ahead and take constants and put them outside of your main function. And so now these are global. That is that everyone can see these. All the future functions that we're going to create are able now to see what this constant looks like. Okay, so this is Professor Robert Solis. I hope this video lesson was helpful. Have a good day. See you next time.